Gina, welcome to the Group X podcast. It's so good to see you.
Oh, Tony, thanks for having me. Great to see you too.
Brilliant. Let's do it. Kick it off how I do it with all of them. Tell us a bit about you. How did your journey into the fitness industry kick off?
Well, it started, fitness was always a big part of my life, watching my parents go to the gym as a young kid and just always been around sort of lots of activity. But in year 4, there was a tryout at my school for the sport aerobics team. And me and my twin sister, my identical twin sister, both went, oh, that sounds fun. Like, let's go. And so did 100 other children. And so we all rocked up to this sport aerobics tryout. And apparently I could do the splits and a couple of push-ups. So yeah, we both got into that and the rest is history.
In year 4?
It was in year 4. So I was about 10.
That's got to be the earliest one yet out of everybody that I've chatted to. For year 4 to be having the introduction into doing some form of exercise, that's brilliant.
Yes, I was never a ball sport person. So I had tried, the netball and the soccer and I was just never very good at it. But as soon as sport aerobics started in my life, that was it. It was, the rest is history.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. So how did that then eventuate through that? We're saying that's what, year 10 or 10 years of age?
Yeah, 10 years of age. So I competed for my local primary school all the way through to year 7. And then my group of friends and I wanted to keep competing together. So we formed like a little club. My coach, Lee McLeaker, formed a little club and we all competed from different schools. And then we kept competing together up until I think I was 22 when I stopped.
So run me through then a couple of the different types of activities and stuff you were doing. What was it?
Yeah, so sport aerobics is a real mix of sort of dance and gymnastics. So think body attack with some gymnastics in it.
Okay.
So it's a 2-minute routine, high intensity, and you do a few compulsory moves, so push-ups, splits, jumping jacks, and then the rest is just...
Is this, then correct me if I'm wrong, is this what we would see at the Olympics when they do that gymnastics floor routine? Is that similar to what?
It's similar, not quite, but yeah, similar. The music's a little bit faster and there's a little bit more dance element to it. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Sweet. Love that. So what happened when you turned 22?
I got married and had some children.
Yep.
and now my daughter loves aerobics. So I got a sort of tap on the shoulder from her primary school saying, can you coach the local team here? And that was a few years ago now, 4 years ago. Yep. And ever since then, and the same thing has happened, they've all gone off to high school and now I've got my own little aerobics club called Vibe Sport Aerobics. And I do the same now.
Ah, brilliant. That is so cool. I love the fact that you're doing stuff with little people. Yeah. Obviously, as you might not know, but I've got a 7.5-year-old who going on 21. She'll tell you that she's almost 21, let me tell you. But she's obviously getting into netball and she's doing a whole lot of sports stuff as well. We've got her into nippers, but I try and be as hands-on with that kind of stuff as I can because I want her to be, not so much want her to be fit, but I want her to have the understanding of how exercise plays a vital part in your life. And getting it from such a young age, I think, is vital for the little ones. It's just key, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got a couple of 6-year-olds all the way up to sort of 16-year-olds. So
awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Great.
How did you get into Les Mills then? How did that sort of eventuate for you?
Yeah, so when I was about 16, I actually managed to get onto the Australian team with aerobics. So me and a couple of other of my teammates made the national team. So we thought, we've got to sort of, get a bit fitter and really give this a good crack going overseas to compete. So we used to participate in some Les Mills classes. So yeah, mainly body attack because obviously that was our jam.
Yep.
And, the music and the energy and the pace was just all for us. So yeah, every minute we had spare or weren't at training, we would go and do body attack classes. And yeah, one day I was in the class and the instructor said to me, I'm actually moving to Mongolia. So, this class is going to become available and do you think that you'd be interested in doing your training? And I had no idea what that entailed, but she said, it's next weekend, it's 2 days. And the weekend after that is 2 days of pump. You could do both of them back to back. And I just thought, yeah, no worries.
Sure.
And little did I know what was coming. But so within a month I had done my body attack and body pump training and it was insane.
How old were you at this stage?
I was 17.
Yeah. Wow.
So really young.
That's a lot to take on for a 17-year-old to do full module training. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it. That was it. After that, I was
You were
in.
hooked.
Yeah, I was hooked. After that, I taught, obviously. And then when I was going to uni, I taught full stop. And then I ended up doing my step training, my RPM training, my core training, my combat training.
So, okay,
So
that
I
means
just loved
now's
it.
the question. Which programs aren't you trained in? Not the ones you are trained in. Which ones you're not trained in yet?
Yeah, yet pretty much all the the body jams, and I look at those instructors and in awe of them.
What's new in fitness? The Australian fitness industry news and commercial gym equipment suppliers website designed to provide fitness industry professionals with knowledge and information to make better informed business decisions.
But I just, not very good at that. So
Yeah, look, I
leave
hear
that to the.
two left feet, as everybody knows. Tony can't dance whatsoever.
Don't believe you.
No, look, lift heavy things and pedal fast going nowhere. They're my jam. Yep.
Yes.
Yep. Stick with those and we're good. So how was module training for you then at the age of 16, 17? What was that experience like for you?
Oh, I was totally inspired. I just was around this group of people that were obviously all older than me, but I absolutely just learnt so much so quickly. And they were just amazing. And I really, really appreciate, the level of, I suppose, nurturing that they gave me, because I was younger and didn't really know what I was in for.
Yeah.
But they really sort of did take me under their wing, and I had some great mentors, and I'm really, really thankful for them. So loved it. It was a bit overwhelming, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But in those days, there was so many people in our pump training. We had to teach our tracks back to back,
Yeah.
So I had someone teaching it.
Yes.
Yeah, do you remember that?
doing that? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that was because there's like 16 or 18 people in a group, and you were split the room.
Yes.
That's right. I remember that because I remember screwing something up and I heard the person behind me say something. So I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yes, I still remember the girl that I taught with, Ingrid. We had the lunge track, and I still remember us going, oh, I'll try not to talk too loud so we can hear you. And it was just so much fun, and such a great group of like-minded people doing what they love. And I was so inspired by that. And I've never stopped teaching. I've never really had, apart from having kids, 10 weeks off after them, I've never had time where I'm like, I don't want to teach. I just love it.
Yeah. So a training module for you at the age of 16, 17, obviously something you'd never ever done before. How was that learning experience of learning everything you have to learn to deliver a class? I mean, obviously you said it was daunting, but can you remember the first time you got up, you put your mic on during training, and you had to, teach what you just remembered, and how was that experience for you?
Yes, I do remember being nervous, and every time I put my microphone on, I still get nervous, mind you.
Excellent.
Because you just want to do a good job. So yes. I do remember thinking, I don't want to stuff this up. Yep. But I think my sport aerobics background did help, because learning the choreo was just like learning a routine, or, getting up in front of people was just like a performance. So for me, it was sort of just, okay, this is your performance. And I actually really quite liked the pressure of needing to do your best. So I felt like I treated it more like a performance at first, because that was my safe space.
Yeah.
Not that I was funny. Like, I was not funny. I literally spat the choreo out and, was as basic as it needed to be. But I think that's the way I got over my intense nerves initially.
Yeah. I love the fact that it started from someone saying to you, hey, I'm moving to was it Mongolia?
Mongolia.
Yeah. I'm moving to Mongolia. Do you think you might want to do? That's brilliant. I don't think I haven't had a guest on yet that has had that. We've had the shoulder tap and the whole, have you thought, or someone that's really, their instructor has really inspired them to want to actually do and become, an instructor themselves. But that's fantastic. That's unique, that one.
Yeah, and she even said, like, I'm going to speak to, the owner of the gym at the time, and we'll pay for it. And so I had no idea, about the paperwork or anything. I just rocked up on the day, and away I went. It was the best thing I ever did.
Yeah.
And actually, even in one of my sport aerobics, coincidingly with that, one of my sport aerobics competitions, I won at Nationals Certificate 3 and 4 in fitness. So we actually, me and my teammates would drive down to TAFE one night a week after school, and we so by the time I finished year 12, I had done my certificate 3 and 4 in fitness as well. So it sort of all happened all at once. So
It was meant to be.
it was meant to be. Yeah.
Wow. Those, they're those feel good moments, those feel good stories where you go, you know what? Yeah. If anyone ever asks you, were you on the right path? Hey, I reckon. Yep.
100%. Yeah.
This has all happened. This has done this and this and this. And hey, here I am. So well
Here I
done.
am.
Yeah. So what's your favorite thing about teaching?
The people.
Yep.
Yeah, people really interest me, and I think I just love connection with people. So for me, it's always about doing things in a team, group fitness, yes, I love exercise, but I've always been in a team and exercised. So even from running around with my twin sister when I was little, I've never done those sort of things by myself. So I think, definitely the group workouts are, what it's all about for me.
Yep. Brilliant. Now, trainer and presenter, or just trainer or just presenter? Which?
I'm just a presenter at the moment. Yes.
Okay, cool. And which programs are you a presenter for?
I'm presenting in Body Attack and Les Mills Core and Body Pump.
Okay. Now, I'm pretty sure I saw that you went somewhere special recently.
Sure did, yes.
Just down the coast from where you live, wasn't it? Yeah,
not far.
Yeah, no. How was it? Talk to us about LA and filming. I want to know everything. Tell me everything you can.
Oh, it's really funny because I feel like I remember so much about it, and then I feel like it's such a blur all at the same time.
Yep.
It was such a, I suppose, whirlwind and busy, and yet some of the most greatest moments I've ever had in my career. So yeah, it's really bizarre. But obviously when we got there, I was traveling with Joss, a friend that I've made. We're great friends now through this experience, which is just lovely.
Yep.
And we traveled together, which was great. So I flew and picked her up via Sydney, and when we got to LA, we had a few days just to sort of get to know each other and get our bearings around the city. And
cool.
Yeah, it was great. And then all the rehearsals started, which was great. I think they were some of my favorite moments, actually. Lisa had organized people to come and practice in our classes.
Yep.
So, looking up and seeing Mandy and Amy Styles and just all these people that, you're forever fangirling over.
Yeah.
To then, teaching your track to them. And they were so lovely and supportive. So that was probably, I learned so much through those rehearsals as well. Just little things like a blade to a fist and just all these little things that prepare you for filming. So they were definitely some of my favorite moments out of the whole experience.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's moments that you will always treasure, but I appreciate that fact that you can talk about it and, be able to share those experiences with us as well. 100%. The leading up to filming, 5 minutes before you went on stage, what was going through your head, your heart, your gut? What was happening?
Oh, I just said to myself, again, I think I tapped into that sport aerobics. It's a performance.
Yep.
I just said to myself, do what you need to do and don't be shit. That's literally what I said in my head. And I've said that to myself plenty of times over the years. And it's just that focus, like this is something you've wanted to do for your whole teaching career. So here's your chance. Don't be shit.
Yeah. How many people were there for the class? As in not you guys on stage, but as in participants out in the...
it felt like there was 10,000, but I want to say Attack had about 1,000.
Wow. Yeah. Still, that's a hell of a lot of people, isn't it?
It's a lot of people. I've never filmed before, and I've never talked to that many people. So it was a lot of new experiences for me.
Can you remember seeing any of their faces, or is that part of it a complete blur and you're like, I'm sure they were there, I know they were there, but did I see them? Yeah.
No, because I'm such a connector, I was looking for people, and awesome. I forgot the cameras were there at some points. I was looking and I saw some of Lisa's team, so Florrie, Nick, Robbie and Liam. And I saw them in the front row and I instantly felt calm because they were at all our practices. I saw beautiful Eve and Amanda and Pete Peterson from Australia sort of over in the corner, and I found them pretty early on. Yep. And so every time, even when I was just shadowing, I sort of would look over to them and just take a deep breath and just calm. So,
Yeah.
and the funny thing was at filming, we couldn't sing on stage, and there's some cracker music in Body Tag 120, but we couldn't sing because, you know, it looks weird. And sometimes they need to change the music, so you're not allowed to sing because obviously if they change the music and you're mouthing different words, it's not a good look.
Could be a bit weird.
Yes, but everyone in the crowd was singing because obviously it was such a great, some great songs, some iconic music. And so especially Liam and Florrie and Robbie, they were singing out loud, and I just thought, this is torture. I'm watching them all have a good old time singing along, and so no, I definitely found those moments to take in and look around and go, oh my gosh, all these people are, here enjoying this class. And it was just, I get goosebumps just thinking about it. So it was
awesome.
Just, one of those moments.
I've had a few guests on in the past that have done filming and have said that they've been taken to a place further than what they thought they were going to be with their instructing and their coaching and their training. As in the head trainers like Lisa, for example, would take you and push you and push you and push you and push you until you are at a level where you think you're about to explode or burst, so that on game day, on filming day, you pull it back a little bit from where she took you. Did that experience happen for you? Or was it a bit different?
Really. Yeah, it was a bit different for us because we had sort of done all of our feedback prior to going to LA. So we had been sending videos back and forth to Lisa, and she would give us sort of small tweaks and adjustments. So when we got to LA, it was really just the performance with the team that we had to work on.
Yep.
So, I didn't feel that at all. I was just taking it all in, and really before I went to LA, I had practiced a lot and was sort of ready to go with my 2 tracks that I was teaching with Joss and Buzz. So
what was the main thing that Lisa had asked you guys to get across with your teaching or with your instructing?
I noticed she wanted us to be really clear.
Yep.
So with our particular track, one of our tracks, there was a lot of directional changes, and the wording that she wanted us to use was quite particular and not something that Joss and I had ever really used. So, and I suppose that comes from her wisdom teaching to so many people before.
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest thing for me. Getting your class of 50 to do what you say is quite a lot different to getting to 1,000 people. Yeah. So that was really, and some of that language has stuck with me, which is great. So it's a new way of teaching. And the other thing would be, she really did say, take a moment to really take it all in.
Yep.
Just really, look around and look to your teammates, interact with them, and really take in what you're about to do and what you're doing. So I did do that. Did try and do that.
What tracks did you have to teach? What tracks were you given?
So LMAP had track number 2 and track number 10, the core track.
Cool. And how did you go?
Yeah, great. We had rehearsed, and I remember stepping off stage, or finishing our tracks, going, we did a great job.
Awesome.
And I remember thinking, no matter what, when we see the release in November, whenever we see it, I have to remember that feeling, because we're going to look at it and always obviously change something.
Yeah.
Or go, I could have done that better, or I should have been doing that, or should have said that. But really, I have to go back to that feeling and go, I was really proud of us and did a great job. Yeah.
Love that. On that, with filming, how often do you film yourself? How often do you, as an instructor, give yourself a session where you video your class and then sit back and watch it, or pass it on to somebody else to give you some feedback?
Yeah, so as a part of the LMAP team, we have to do it once a quarter for every program that we present for.
Yep.
And I probably do it one other time in the quarter. So I do it in preparation for workshops as well. So I'll film the tracks that I'm presenting for workshops and give myself sort of some adjustments, or go, okay, that's how I naturally taught that track. How can I take it in a different direction, or how do I want to coach in this? Is my technique looking good? I do it probably twice a quarter. And in preparation for workshops, and then after for assessment. Yeah.
When you do the videos, who are you sending them through to? Or are you just watching them yourself?
Yeah, so in preparation for workshops, it's just for me. So I just prepare myself. And then after, we film either our workshop class or a club class teaching the new release, and we send it to our team coach.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so for Les Mills Core, it would be James Brennan. For Body Attack, it's Braden. So and
Brilliant.
for Pumpets Jacko.
Yeah. No, I asked that question more so for those that aren't Les Mills. Yeah. As in
Yes.
group exercise and the other people that I've had on the show, more so for them to understand that, it's something that they should probably be looking to do with their team as well. If they're not, or even those that are instructors that are starting out or wanting to get some feedback, guys, jump on and film yourself.
100%.
Yep. Jump on and it's the easiest way to see what you say over and over again. Yeah, or things that you need to improve on, or whatever it may be. And if we're, as instructors, I think we look to, we want to teach, we want to make sure we're getting that message across all the time. But are we also being inspirational, or are we just being informational? Yeah, looking at those two aspects.
This is the Group X podcast.
On that, I'll ask you the question: what do you think is important? Do we need to just be informational, or do we need to be inspirational, or do we need to be both? And how do we be both?
Good question. I think we need to be both, because I think being inspirational is something that, some people will only come back if they're inspired by you.
Yep.
Or at least are enjoying your class, or enjoying the vibes you give out, enjoying your company to some degree. And I think informational, there's always going to be people in your class that want to know more and want to learn when they come to your class. Why am I doing this? Why does it feel like this? So I do think we need to be, really backing ourselves with current and staying current, current information. Things are always changing in the fitness industry. So I think as instructors, I think we do need to be both. Being inspirational, moving with inspiration, connecting really well, and definitely staying current. So, going to our whatever workshops it would be for your, keeping current with our CEC points, making sure we're, doing all those things that
Upskilling
keep us,
ourselves.
upskilling ourselves. Yeah.
No, the reason I ask is it's been a bit of a topic that's been in my mind for a few weeks, and it's something that to me is, how do we get the next lot of instructors out there? Because if we're just being informative, I don't think the next lot of instructors really care too much about the information. Yeah, they need to know it, and they need to know it's safe and what we're doing and all that kind of stuff. I think if I look back at when I started, I think I didn't care about any information. I didn't know about any information. To me, I was inspired by the people that were in front of me. I wanted to do what Shannon did. I wanted to do what Andrew did. I wanted to do what Pete Manuel did. I wanted to do what those guys around me were doing, because they did it so well that it made me as a participant just sort of look around and go, oh, maybe I might be able to do that. And then when the tap on the shoulder came, I was like, oh, wow, you know what? Yeah, this is an opportunity here. I think it's more and more, as I'm speaking to clubs, more and more finding out that clubs are struggling with finding covers. We're struggling to find more new instructors coming in. I think that's why it's sort of been in my head to sort of go, okay, are instructors being inspirational when they're teaching? Or are we just, well, I've got to learn this choreo, I've got to do 5 of them, 4 of that, 3 of that, I've got to mix it all through with the music and have a bit of yay, do we need to focus solely on that, or can we focus on the inspiration again? Or, maybe it's called the fitness magic again. Who knows? That bit of we bring in to make it something completely different.
Yeah. And look, I think the majority of our initial module participants are going to be from our classes. So, yeah, you're right. I do think that maybe we're not tapping enough people on the shoulders. Yeah. Maybe we're not going up to people enough and saying, hey, you'd be an amazing body attacker or body combatter. Have you ever thought of doing a training? Maybe we're not doing that enough.
Maybe how there's a day for everything. Like there's a whatever day for this and whatever day for that. Maybe we need to have a group exercise instructors day where every group exercise instructor that teaches on that day has to find someone from their class and tap them on the shoulder and go, hey, have you thought about doing this? Because I guarantee there's one in every class you teach, there is one person
100%
that's in there. Whether they decide to do it or not is a complete another story. There's so many factors that may stop them. But if we at least have that conversation, I think it's going to help us as an industry, as well as I think some of the instructors, and this, I could be revving people up here and rustling people's feathers the wrong way, but I don't care. It's my podcast. I'll say what I want. There's some instructors out there that I think are, well, no, I don't cover anybody. no, I've got to be paid to do all this. And it's like, hang on a second, mentoring someone. I've said this recently as well. If you've tapped someone on the shoulder, or if there's someone in your class that you think has got what it takes, don't expect the club to pay you to mentor that person. Do it out of the goodness of your own heart to help somebody else new through. Yeah. I think most of us that have been teaching for at least 5, 10, let's go back 15, 20 years even, we had someone help us that wasn't paid to help us. They did it out of the love. They did it out of the love for the industry and love for what we do. And don't just rock up, teach, and then nick off again and go, oh, well, that's all I'm here to do. Do it because we've got a passion around what we do and we want to make a huge difference.
And remember when you started and how it felt. Yeah, I always, bring myself back to that first moment. And often in my classes, when I see someone who is potentially a good instructor, I often just invite them along to workshops and say, come along and experience a new release with a room of instructors. And quite often that gets them over the line. And it's a great way to get introduced to, the environment and maybe it takes a couple of quarters for them to go, right, okay, I'll definitely do my training. But, they just get immersed in the team culture and eventually decide to do it. So,
yeah, I do think what happened to the world in the end of 2019, 2020 and 2021, all of that did change everything for us as an industry. But I do think we still need to find ways to actually recruit. We need to, not just from a club level, but from an instructor level, us guys that are teach, well, not me because I'm not teaching at the moment, but people that are actually teaching, help find the next instructor, because if you're finding it struggle to actually get people to cover your classes, I hope like hell gyms aren't cancelling classes or putting virtual classes on if they can't find a live instructor. That should be the absolute last resort when we've tried absolutely everything, not just, Gina can't teach tonight, we'll just put a virtual on or we'll cancel a class. Hell no. There's got to be instructors. But I think for me, and I don't know whether it's because I'll class myself as from the old school, you never wanted to put somebody teaching your class that was garbage. You wanted to make sure that you had someone that was brilliant teaching your class so that your members got that experience and were grateful for you to be back the following week when you were back there, but also knew that you cared enough to actually put somebody in there looking after them for a week.
Yeah.
That was as good, if not a little bit better than you, to make sure that, hey, these are my babies. Look after them for me while I have a day off or, whatever it may be. Yeah. Maybe I am old school and I think like that. That's just the way that I was brought into the industry to, you always cared about what was going on and you did it.
Yeah, and I always tell everyone, like when I was going away to LA, I've been away quite a bit with LA and workshops every 3 months, and then even national championships last week for aerobics. So I tell them, hey team, next week I'm not going to be here, but Laura's going to cover you, and you can have a great time with her. Make sure you show off. I want to know how good you were when I was gone. Like I always sort of make sure they know exactly what's coming, and so they know that I've put the effort into, not just found a last minute cover or of course there are those moments where you're sick or, things like that happen. But, those moments where you're away for an extended period of time, they know that some effort has gone into it. And often it takes a couple of weeks to organise it. Like you said, there's not many. And often it's your good friends, isn't it? For me, it's my good friends. I help them out. They help me out. And
100%. And I think that's where, if I cast my mind back to the early 2000s, getting into the industry, you made friends with a whole lot of people, because if you needed a class cover, you needed to know who was out there. Yeah. And yes, I understand that that's a very touchy topic for some people in our industry about finding covers and who has to find the cover. No, it should be the Group X manager. No, it should be me. Or, there's that. We're divided with that. There's so many different ways to find those covers. I will say there's something in the future that's coming in the next couple of months, but I won't say too much more. Just you heard that here, people. But anyway, but no, I think that was the way that we needed to make sure we had. You made those friends. And that was from tapping that person on the shoulder. I remember mentoring probably at least 5 or 6 people in the first 5 or 6 years of me teaching. That I'm still in touch with those people today. One's back in Auckland teaching at Les Mills, Auckland, that Kate gets in contact with me. She's like, hey, Tone, still teaching. Thanks so much for everything. And I'm like, dude, you're on the big stage now. Like you're over there doing that. We just had a bit of fun in North Sydney and I helped you through stuff and gave you some space next to me on stage to shine and learn and do that stuff. I think to me, it's very Very important. Very
Yeah,
important.
it is one of my favorite things to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Group X podcast.
Gina, how did the opportunity come up for you to be part of the LMAP team?
Yeah, so this opportunity sort of came up probably mid 2018, and there was just a boot camp, an email for everyone who had done their advanced training, AIM 1, AIM 2. So there were, modules you do after your initial module to sort of further your learnings, and I loved all of them. So I did it in, all my programs. And an email just came through saying, this opportunity is out there, film a couple of your tracks and send them through. And I thought, well, what have I got to lose? I've always, why not? I'd love to do something like that.
Yep.
And there hadn't been an opportunity for a long time. So I thought, well, obviously I have to jump on that. So filmed about, 100 classes, chose my favorite 2 tracks. And you can only send for 2 programs. And I thought, well, I predominantly teach attack and pump. So I'll do those 2. And then got great. We'd love to come. We'd love you to come to boot camp and do the live presentations and a little bit of a module presentation. So went and did that. And there was, a big group of us, probably about 15 from Adelaide. And it was the best weekend.
Awesome.
Ever. So it was just, so much fun. And often, these were some people that I had done my training with or modules with in the past. So obviously you have a really great connection. You know what it's like when you go through modules together, you're like trauma bonded.
Yeah.
So you have this great connection. So boot camp, I just remember it being really fun. And so after that, got a, yes, you can, you've made it onto the attack and pump and squad, and then sort of core came in a little bit later, but then obviously everything happened in the world and everything just muted and stopped for an extended period of time. So I sort of had done a couple of workshops with the beautiful Rach and Steve and, a few of the greatest and people who I've looked up to for a long time.
Yeah.
And then everything just stopped. So really in the last, since we've kicked back off again, I've really got to, start traveling again early 2021.
Yep.
And, started going over to Sydney and Darwin. I've been lucky enough to go over to Brisbane a few times and obviously my Adelaide crew workshops, which I love. So
talk us through your first time being up on stage as a presenter.
Oh,
how was it? Was it on home turf or were you in another state? How was that?
No, I was in Adelaide actually, and Steve Clough was in Adelaide.
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure. And I was teaching track 3 and 4, so I didn't have to do much. I just didn't want to be shit. So I said don't be shit, as I put my microphone on. And it was a huge turnout. Lots of people had come to sort of obviously see Steve. And obviously to support me as well, because they were like, oh wow, we haven't, you've never done this before. And, so they were really supportive, and the track and the release was awesome. It was Body Attack 106. So I still remember it. And it was one of the best classes and one of the hardest classes I've ever done. Yeah. Jackie Condor was in town as well. Yep. Jax and Josh was teaching too for one of his first workshops. So all 4 of us were on stage. And we did 2 that, one on the Saturday, one on the Sunday. Yep. And it was just, it was epic.
Let me ask you this question. And I only ask it because I know that there are some instructors out there that are a bit negative. Yeah. Have you experienced anything negative from instructors out there when you've been given the opportunity in that regards? Like, there seems to be less and less of it. And I think those instructors are weaning themselves out of the industry. Those that don't support each other are disappearing. But have you ever experienced anything like that?
No, to be honest, not at all. I think, I do work hard, and I've worked hard from such a young age to be the best I can. I've always gone to workshops. And so I can't see how anyone would do it, to be honest, because, I've always been there putting in the hard work. I've done all my modules, it's not something that naturally just fell into my lap or, I've upskilled myself constantly and, put in the hard work, never stopped teaching. Like I said, never had like a hiatus for years or anything like that. So Yeah, I've never had anyone sort of, news get back to me that anything negative
Yep.
was.
Look, that's good. And I think it's more, I asked that question more so for new instructors coming through, don't be afraid. Just, get in there and give it a shot. There are going to be some people that hate, but most in our industry, most instructors, we care about each other. We want to support each other. And when one of our peers, one of our colleagues gets an opportunity to shine, we want to stand there and celebrate with them. Yeah. I think the negative Nancy's, as I call them, are weaning themselves out. They're not around. They don't last in the industry. They're, I'm just here to teach, rock up 2 minutes before a class and then leave straight after.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen anymore. It's I think we went through a phase where it seems to be, and it could just be, it was just a Sydney or New South Wales thing. There seemed to be a lot of them there for a while. But I think they, the reset that we had to have, or the reset that was forced upon us, got rid of a lot of that negativity from the industry.
Yes. Yeah. And I think if people were teaching for the wrong reasons prior to, 2020, I think they've probably stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. I think, I think you're 100% right with that. They did stop if they were teaching for the wrong reason. I do think there's a lot of great instructors that managed to pivot, but also realize that they needed to during that time as well. They needed to find something to support them during that time. And during that period when, oh crap, we've got no money all of a sudden, to I don't ever want to experience that again. I need to find something full time. Unfortunately, we did lose a lot of amazing instructors during that time, but I think at the same time, as we're saying, there's some fresh ones that are starting to come through that are, climbing the ranks and building their way up as we go.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, we've lost a lot of full-time instructors. A lot of instructors now have a 9 to 5, and whereas prior they might have been full-time in fitness. And I think that's probably where we're hurting a bit as well. So there's instructors that could sort of help out at all hours of the day and nights, only available at night or early mornings now. And I think that's where we're struggling a little bit.
I think that comes back to where I was talking about before, the inspirational. We really need to be, when we're teaching, massively inspirational. Yeah, as we said, we need to be informational but inspirational to make sure that we're getting more instructors. We're finding more coming through.
Yeah, 100%. We want to lead from a place where people go, oh, I could do that.
Yeah.
That seems fun and enjoyable, not, well, they don't look like they're having much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think showing enjoyment is such an important part of our job. If we're loving what we do and we show it that, authentically, then I think, who wouldn't want to give it a go?
True. Yeah. Who do you look up to? Who are your inspirations for teaching and what you do within the industry?
Yeah, I think Lisa obviously would be a big one for me. Lisa Osborne, she was obviously a part of the Australian team for sport aerobics as well for a long time.
Yeah.
So obviously as a young child, I looked up to her in that. And then, she's this body attack goddess. And so obviously I look up to her. And actually I really look up to the people in my classes, Nina in the back row, who's 79, doing body attack for me. I always say to her, I want to be like you when I grow up. And, I really get so much motivation from the people who come in day in, day out. They've worked all day and then they're coming to my body pump class. And I just find them just, incredible. And they really are my inspiration. I often say to them, you guys inspire me as much as I inspire you. And I really do, have a lot of gratitude for them coming. So I think, I draw a lot of energy and inspiration just from members in my class. There's so many different people there. Even my sport aerobics girls, the dedication that they put into their work and their routines, and I just find them so inspiring.
Yeah, that's not it's nice to hear, and I know you're not just saying it. Yeah, that's the nice thing about that comment is that you're there for them, not the other way around.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they're not there for you. Yeah, they rock up for you, and we know that happens. But the reason you teach is because of the people that are in front of you. That was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask you is, hey, why do you teach? You've answered that question straight up. That's the people that rock up, the people that come in, day out, as we've said many times on here. We don't know why they're there. They could be having the shittest of shit days, or it could be their only hour or whatever it is of the day, which is their time. And they need to stop and just have that, yep, this is me. And we need to be on. We need to be on fire, making sure we're delivering the best we can possibly deliver for those people in front of us. And I think I've said it a couple of times. I think there's people I was chatting to during this week and last week of instructors that are like, hey, Tone, how do we get ahead? It's like, be you.
Yes.
Be 100% you. As soon as I hate the word authenticness or authenticity comes through, I call it the real. Be real. And that's when it all falls into place. Yeah. Stop trying so hard. Just teach. Be you. If you're meant to be teaching, you're meant to be doing what you're doing, you're in the right place at the right time. The opportunities will happen. Don't try and force them.
I agree. And you're right. I think, the reason why I teach is definitely where I came from. So falling in love with exercise and just falling in love with moving your body, however that may look like, And I think that's why I teach a lot of different programs, because I didn't feel like I was seeing enough people with one program. So I think, helping people of all different, areas fall in love with their body, kids, older people, your athletes in Body Attack and, so it really is, just helping people fall in love with moving their body, however that looks for them. So, yeah.
What's new in fitness? The Australian fitness industry news and commercial gym equipment suppliers website designed to provide fitness industry professionals with knowledge and information to make better informed business decisions. Hey, two questions I want to ask that I've asked a fair few of my guests when they come on the show. What do you love about the industry?
Ooh, good question. I think, again, the connections. So the friends you can make, the fitness industry. I've met some of my best friends. I met my husband at the gym. Yep. So, and I'm sure you met Rachel at the gym.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. And I think now, like back then, there was no Facebook or, Instagram or anything like that. Gosh, we're sounding old now. But, there was none of that. So
it was around. It just came out.
Yes. And I was never really a huge party animal, I suppose, because I, had training the next day and, Sunday was our biggest session. And, I went out, but never sort of drank or anything like that. So I think just the meeting the people that you meet, you're in this room of like-minded people or, the gym or your sports team. And I just think, the connections you can make are genuine and they're, friends you can have for life.
Yeah.
So,
no, I've still, I was a PT for many years back in North Sydney as well. And I've still clients, friends that are on Facebook that we haven't seen each other in the last 10 years, but there's still a message that comes through every so often as, hey, how are you? What's going on? Oh my God, your daughter's gorgeous. Or, your family's amazing or whatever it may be. The conversation that happens in that way. It's so nice, but they, as you said, they're friends that you have for life.
Because you changed their life probably, or, for that period of time, you made them feel better about themselves, feel, feel their best version of themselves. So, you're sort of bonded through that, aren't you? So,
what do you dislike about our industry?
I dislike that it can't be a full-time job.
Yeah. Yep.
I really dislike that. And it's not about the money, I suppose. Well, at the bottom it is, but it's not, we want to be making millions and millions of dollars. But the sad truth is, if someone wants to work in the industry full-time, it's really challenging.
Yeah.
And I really dislike that because I know so many friends who would love to give up their 9-to-5 gig and do fitness full-time, and they just can't afford it.
Yeah. So,
I think that's pretty sad.
I think there's a whole, I think we could do an entire podcast just on that topic alone, which you never know, I may get you back on and we'll delve into that one. But I think there is something in that's, people say, oh, it's so expensive to go to the gym. But is it? Is it really expensive to be healthy? Yeah, it was obviously, as Josh said in the chat with that I had with her a couple of weeks back, that eating in LA was expensive. Trying to be eating healthy was really expensive. So there are certain places in the world, certain areas, certain parts of life where, yes, I get that being fit and being healthy is an expensive thing. But really, what is expensive when it comes to your health? When it comes to health and fitness, what is classed as too expensive? Then I'd say to a gym as well, what is classed as paying too much for an instructor? You know, if you have an instructor that's firing on all cylinders, that's giving the absolute best, and you have, as an example, 50 spaces in your room and 50 spaces are full every time that instructor's coming in, I'd be wanting to pay them a little bit more than what they're currently getting.
Yeah.
If they're only getting 10 people, then there's something not right. We need to work out why they're only getting 10 people. But, you know, looking at that whole, what's too expensive? What's not, you know, when you look at it as a participant, you know, before getting into fitness, before getting into teaching, I'd paid it because I wanted to get fit. I wanted to get healthy. And I knew that whatever it was way back then, God, it was probably $10 a week or whatever it was, even if not less, you know, that was fairly cheap for your health when you think about it. You know, where I'm going now is $70 a week. You know, there's a very big difference in what it is. You know, yes, I can go to as many classes as I want during the week and get the level of service I'm getting, and I see the value in it. Yeah, I'm happy to pay it. But I think when we look at it from an industry view or an industry point of what the public see fitness as, I don't believe there's a too expensive. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm completely, you know, off the mark with it, but maybe I'm in an echo chamber. So everybody I'm talking to, you know, we're all fitness people. So we're like, yeah, it's cheap as, yeah, let's get, you know, that conversation just keeps happening and happening and happening. But I think that there is, I don't think it's too expensive to get fit and healthy at all.
Not at all. I agree. I think, you know, health is wealth, as they say. You know, I'd rather be paying for my gym membership or my peanut butter smoothie in LA. That was $27.
Jesus.
But, you know, then paying doctors and physios and stuff, you know. So I suppose it just depends on what. I think the problem could lie as well. I think there's a lot of gyms who have group fitness now that are so cheap to go to. So, you know, I saw an ad the other day that was like $8.80 a week or something. And I just thought, how do you run an entire gym with a group fitness timetable on $8.80 a week? So those clubs, the insight that I have from my Les Mills days and, you know, the I suppose the consulting side of stuff that I do on the side as well, they're on mass volume. You know, they need to get 2, 3, 4 times as many members as a normal club that would be charging $20 to $30 a week. Obviously, there's a difference there, and they're counting on those people and that membership being so cheap that they won't come in. Oh, it's the same as a cup of coffee or 2 a week. You know what? If I go, I go. If I don't, you know, whatever. And so it's the going back to the model that there was in the industry for quite some time on you love those members. You love those members that paid and never rocked up. Didn't have to service them, but they were giving you their money. Yeah, that's fantastic. They've given me all their money. When the end of 2019, 2020 hit, that all stopped, and all the cream that clubs were getting on top just disappeared because they had to switch off all of their direct debits. They had to switch off all of that. There was no income coming in whatsoever, and they weren't allowed to just switch it back on when lockdowns all finished. Those members had to opt back in to come back into your gym again. They had to tell you when to turn that direct debit back on. Yeah. And I think that's where, you know, there's still, as you said, there's still clubs out there now that are charging, you know, $8 or whatever it is per week. Yeah. Hoping that all their members don't come, but the ones that are going to get an amazing deal. $8 a week, you know, God, if I could be paying $8 a week instead of the $60 or $70 that I'm paying now, yeah, I'd do it because I'm part of the industry though. You know, I understand what that all is there. So yeah. Interesting. It is. It's tough because, we just think, you know, maybe they'd be able to pay their instructors a little bit more. Should they? You know, people would pay more to go to the gym, I'm sure of it. But,
yeah.
But then, a whole other day, whole other topic.
I'll ask you another question on this one. What is a Group X instructor worth?
Oh, that is a tough question.
That's the you know, am I only worth $40, or am I worth $80 per class?
I think you're onto something though. I think if you're filling the room, I think there should be a base and then a bonus. You know, like if you're filling the room and you've filled the room for years, then that instructor should be getting more, maybe a percentage of the class turnout or, but I think that it should definitely be on. If you're getting more people in and you're keeping them and you've had them for years, then they should be rewarded for that for sure.
Yeah. I think there's pros and cons around that because I've had conversations with regional clubs that say to me, Tony, we can't afford to pay any more than what we're paying our instructors, and it may only be $45 a class. Yeah. All those guys in the city can pay a hell of a lot more because can they? Yeah, they might be able to because, they might have more members and there's more members attending. So there's more people paying membership and all that kind of stuff. And I see that. But I still think there needs to be, a minimum wage that we're paid as Group X instructors that needs to be adhered to. We need to have the governing bodies really step in and go, hey, guys, this is the absolute minimum you should be paying as an instructor, or as an instructor, this is the minimum you should be expecting or accepting to teach classes.
This is the Group X podcast.
Gina, what advice would you give an instructor that's either brand new coming through or looking to upskill or change what they're doing in their routines? What would you say to them?
Yeah, I would always start with, attending your local workshops, because I think that's somewhere where you can connect with other people, learn from the presenters, but also from each other, just talking to each other and, getting there a little bit earlier, staying a little bit later. Quite often in Adelaide, we'll have a dinner after, workshops or something.
Yeah.
So I think, you just learn so much from what other people are doing in the industry. So I think definitely connecting, because sometimes we're in our own little bubble, aren't we? We're teaching our classes and then we don't get to do anyone else's classes necessarily. So connecting at workshops, definitely. And, if you can get to other people's classes, I always learn something when I go to someone else's class. So I think even just going to participate, if you have, an early morning or a night off or a weekend where you're, free and don't have anything on, going to participate. And of course, videoing yourself. It's one of the most confronting things, but I think videoing yourself and looking back on it and just going, well, what's one thing that I can do? And every quarter I sort of think of one thing or one track. At the moment I'm working on my warm-ups, because I just think, warm-ups the beginning of a class, and I'd really love to just, be amazing at warm-ups. So for me, I'm, videoing all my warm-ups and going, how can I connect differently rather than just saying everyone's names? How can I, sound a little bit different when I say that? Or how can I say the same thing but in a different way?
Yeah.
Yeah, so just choosing one thing, not, sort of overwhelming yourself, but choosing one thing and just going, how can I do that better or differently?
I like that. That takes me back to the conversation I had with Nathan White last year sometime, I think it was, that I said to him, go back and do the worst of release. Yep. Go and choose those tracks that you haven't taught for a very long time or that you didn't enjoy teaching. Go and do them. Pull them out and don't do a worst class ever. That's not what I'm trying to say, but choose the music that you don't gel with as an instructor, that you need to go and work on. You need to go and really sit down, learn the choreo or work out how you're going to deliver that differently to get a different result to what you did last time when you hated it. I think that's a vital thing. And I think that taps into what you're saying there with the go to your quarterly workshop, guys. Just get in there. The one big thing here in the Illawarra or Wollongong area where I live, I know there's so many instructors that don't go to quarterly workshops. Now, Campbelltown or Sydney, where they are held, is 45, 50 minutes away, but they won't go. Even 4 times a year. Oh, I'm too busy. It's 4 times a year. It's 4 days out of 365 days in the year. I've never understood it. Never really understood it. Slowly it's starting to change, and I hope it does change even more. But the thing you tapped on there as well is, and you said the guys in South Australia have a dinner afterwards. When I was working for Les Mills and I was looking after WA, it's one thing that I would always be over there for the quarterly workshops, because I'd run the desk and hand the musics out, the DVDs and all that kind of stuff out. And one thing that would always happen was a dinner after the event on the Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening. Everybody, there'd be, 50, 60, 70 odd people get together at a pub somewhere and go and have dinner. And it was the best. I didn't know any of them. I was just Tone from, New South Wales that would rock up and do it. And it was one of the best things to see so many instructors bonding and getting to know each other outside of Lycra. Yeah. Putting so many of them say, wow, you guys look so different when you're not, when you haven't got your training gear on. Yeah. Yeah. We're humans. And it was so nice to see that. So one thing I will say to anyone that's listening, if you are in a group of people in an area where that doesn't happen for you guys, start it up. Yes. Have a chat to a few people and say, hey, we're going to go for coffee or we're going to go for dinner or whatever it may be, and start building that community. Yeah. Not just from your gym, from all gyms. You know, get that mixture of happening from all gyms. We don't just need to stick with those that we know in the safety zone of the people that we do know. Go and go meet someone else. Go and meet another
get a group
instructor.
chat going. Get a group chat going and get it. Yeah, because even if it's something little like, oh yeah, I'm going to do Pilates tomorrow, and you're a core teacher.
Yep.
You can go and learn something from that class, or, you know, just little things like that. You just don't know where those conversations lead to, and some great learning opportunities. So, yeah.
Love it. Gina, thank you so much for coming on the show and spending some time with me. I know that the format of this one has been a little bit different to a lot of the others, but I'm trying to switch it up a little bit and trying to get different topics in here as well. So thank you for being a part of this. And I know that it took us 8 months to get this going, because when we'd originally planned it, I died in hospital and come back again. So
glad you're back again. Don't do that to us again.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing some time with me. I greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.